as for why, I think we all think the scripts were damn good.
Yep.
They were really, really excellent, and the part, I think we all responded very strongly to the roles that we were going in for. I felt really, really lucky to be auditioning for this guy.
Yeah, I think for me, I got the material from my agent and immediately went home and read the scripts, the first 2 scripts we got, and I fell in love with it right away and really connected to the characters and their struggles. And I mean, when you read something like that, it's sort of a feeling that you get right away, and I knew that I needed to be a part of it, and it was such a rare feeling for me to get when I read scripts, so I knew that it was going to be something really special.
Yeah, I fell completely head over heels in love with the character. With the script, of course, is magnificent. All the scripts we got were incredible, and just knew immediately I had to be a part of it. But the character is so three-dimensional and so plays so against type as the werewolf. You know, you've never seen a werewolf like this, who's just a real person who happens to be this supernatural being and hates himself for it, hates what he is. And I thought it was just a really interesting take. And I think that should kind of be like a symbol of what is great about this show. It's like, you think it's just going to be this genre show, but it's not. It's a very human show, and I think that's what's cool, and that's why I wanted to do it. Also, it was very important for me to be naked on television. Very, muy importante. Muy importante.
The most obvious difference for viewers is that the characters feel entirely different. When we first got the show, we were hired, we had each seen like at least part of the first episode of the UK version. And then we stopped watching because we didn't want the UK version to influence the way that we approached our characters. We didn't want to unintentionally mimic what they did. So now that we finished our first season, I bought the Blu-ray for the first season for each of these people and jokers,
losers.
And I watched the first and second season myself, and I'm really a big fan of what they did. I really, really like their show. I like their cast. I like their writing, and I like that it is very different. That's what I like. I guess you're sitting down and you just poured your heart and soul into something, and you're exhausted, and you start watching this other show, and you go, so it's hard, you know, and you watch the first episode, and you go, oh my God, did we just copy what they did? And then you see that the shows actually diverge quite a bit and go off in their own directions, and you go, oh, this is great. These are two complementary entities. These are two shows that can help each other rather than hinder each other. But really, the characters feel totally different. And the humor is obviously different because culturally there are some major differences there. And then what I found really fascinating is that they were interested in some different aspects of some of those storylines that we were. We have 13 episodes to go over the general arc that they followed in 6 episodes. So we have a lot more time to play with. But it was interesting to see where they focused their energies and the questions they were asking about these stories versus the questions that we were asking. And I thought that what they were doing was valid as well. I was like, wow, that's really interesting, and I wish we had done that. But on the other hand, we also did this, this, and this, and they didn't do that. And they were interested in what they were interested in, and we were interested in what we were interested in. And I'm happy to say that
our show is better.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, honestly though, I also feel like people are going to tune into this show for one reason or another, whether it be for the supernatural element, whether it be for the fact that it's a drama or that it's a unique take on this world. But ultimately, they're gonna stick around because the show is so watchable and so interesting and so funny and scary and emotional, and it's just everything that life is. So I think that, you know, people should tune in because they're just ultimately going to relate to it and love it.
Well, for I'm from Canada, and that's where I auditioned. So I went into the casting agent and did a couple auditions for her, and then Adam Kane, who's our executive producer, flew in and sort of workshopped these auditions with me a couple times. And then I sort of did a mix and match with the other people there, and then they flew me to Los Angeles where I screen tested and where we all met for the first time. And that was my process.
I had a crazy process. I auditioned all in like 8 times or more even. When it kept going in, meeting new people. Yeah, I auditioned a ton for this show. And ended up having to, when you get close enough to getting the show, there's a screen test, and where you mix and match with the other characters. I met several different, we all met several different people who were auditioning for the other roles. And so that's when we all met. But yeah, then I had to go in a couple times to test. I was actually, had to fly in to LA twice from my home in New Hampshire and meet a bunch of different people. And I think they were uncertain about where they wanted to go with the character. It was kind of less clear for them. So I just had to fight. I just had to fight for it, and I feel so blessed that it turned out the way that it did, and that I'm sitting here today. I can't tell you. And then I get to work with these guys. It's just...
Mine was fairly simple. I don't know if I've ever said this in the press. Maybe I shouldn't, but maybe I should. They were kind enough to tell me very early in the audition process that they're like, well, we're going to hire you. We have to have you come into these things. It's a formality, but you're the one we're going to hire. So it was awesome to walk in and go, oh, okay, I don't really have to worry about this. And
that's super cool. So glad you had that experience, Sam. So glad it was so easy for you. Oh my God! Say it in the press. Don't say it to me.
Sorry.
Jesus.
They were very kind, and I've never ever dealt with an audition process that was that easy. So I'm sorry to say that.
Thanks.
So
Thanks,
the opposite for both of them.
Facile. Di facile. Right? We're there?
Yeah, we're there. We are.
Well, I think actually that we're hopefully helming that ship, right? In that I think that, those shows embrace the supernatural element, and really that's what those stories are about. That's why people tune into those shows, which is great. But I think that that's what stands us apart is the human element, is the fact that if you were to strip away, you've heard this 100 times today, Laura. If you were to strip away the supernatural element of our show,
if you were to take out the words vampire, werewolf, and ghost,
that the show should stand alone and be an interesting drama and be an interesting story, and these characters should be appealing and engaging enough to watch.
Yeah.
I'm all fucking ears.
That's what I've got all day. In the case of Sally, I mean, because who would really trust a vampire or a werewolf? But in Sally's case, she trusts them both in different ways. I think she looks at Aiden as someone who is really wise and who knows the most about the whole supernatural world than anybody she's ever encountered. Whereas Josh is someone that she sees as going through the same thing that she's going through right now, because they're both kind of new. So I think Josh is more of a confidant and a buddy that she has to really shoot the shit with. And Aiden is someone who she can really go to and seek advice. And I think the most cuddly would have to be Josh is more furry.
See?
Yep.
So it would definitely be Josh. I mean, hugging Aiden would be like all chin on your shoulder.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just
You
like
got chest and arms all over.
She's like ripping
I'm just
you
this
apart.
soft, perfect little bubble
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
can hug
Little
and
bubble,
love.
A hairy little
blanket.
bubble.
It is.
Yeah, so
It is.
Bubble.